Let's now have the world according to the woman who makes a once-a-year appearance on Talk. Back by popular demand, she was here last year. It is my mother, Jane. Hello, Mother.
Good morning. How are you, my darling?
Right, you're looking very nice today, Mum. You look very smiley and happy. Why are you so happy? What's going on?
Well, one has to try. I always smile when I see you, don't I?
Are you happy? You went to the toilet?
Yes, I've been to the toilet. You don't need to ask me that anymore throughout.
All right. Can we do something with your bracelet? I'll put your newspaper under you because you're making noise.
Am I clinking?
You're clinking every time. Try and not move your hands and try and just look forward, and that's it.
Can I move my mouth?
Well, unfortunately, yes. OK. People watch TV differently these days. As for the thought of watching that BBC rubbish all evening, we watched the 1971 version of Scrooge, A Wonderful Life, and then The Bishop's Wife. Fabulous, says Debbie in Hawley. Today's TV is woke garbage now. My partner watches all the soaps, and I hide behind the settee, as I did when The Addams Family was on. I mean, did you watch... Did you watch any Christmas TV? You watched Gavin and Stacey, didn't you?
No, I didn't get round to it, darling. I was washing your dishes.
You helped a little bit round the kitchen.
Okay, just a little bit. Your beloved wouldn't agree with you.
No.
He thinks I'm wonderful.
Oh, well, he thinks a few things about you. I'm not sure wonderful comes into. What about Coronation Street?
I did see Corrie. You told me one of them had died.
I told you Gail was dying.
Yes.
Yeah, she didn't die.
I got really upset about it. I was waiting for the big moment.
She didn't die. I sometimes throw those grenades at you thinking that and you got very wound up and you're like, why are you spoiling it all for me? Is Coronation Street too woke? Do you know what woke is?
Yes.
You know, is it too like helplines and mental health and all of this now rather than the old kitchen sink drama that it used to be? Because, no one watched it on Christmas Day.
Really?
Yes. And I don't know who anyone is anymore. It's all young people all having mental health crisis in it and joining cults and being in sieges.
I do think that they pick up on things that's in the media.
Yeah, but what do you really think? No. But what do you really think?
What do I really think?
Yes, because you're giving an answer that's very polite, but I think that they pick up what's in the media. What do you think of it?
What do I think of Coronation Street? I love Coronation Street.
So is it good still?
I think it is, yes.
I think it's rubbish.
Well, that's your opinion.
I think it's rubbish.
My opinion is I think it's great.
How many seizures and serial killers could a street have?
It is a small street for the number of things that go wrong, but I have watched it since the very first episode.
Well, and it was far better then.
Yes, it was... No, it was different. It was totally different. I won't have a word said against Coronation Street. I love it, OK?
They can't afford any of the older actors anymore.
Well, they're bringing them back, right, left and centre.
No, they're not. They can't afford Rita. They can't afford Ken Barlow. He's hardly in it now.
Well, he does make an appearance.
You know?
But they are... Rita's 80-odd. Ken Barlow's 80. Good grief. I mean...
They're in their 90s, actually, I think.
Well, OK, fine. I've got a couple of years to get to that stage, but I'm still working.
Well, I know you are, so why can't they?
Well, exactly.
So I've got to tell you, I'm going to do a couple of news stories with you this morning. Did you have a nice Christmas, by the way? Did you enjoy it?
Yes, it was lovely. It was nice to have all the family around and some friends. It was really nice. And the fact that it was at your home, so you have all the mess.
And Santa.
Santa was so good to us all, wasn't he?
Yeah, Father Christmas.
Yeah, well, he does need to be. We've given him enough money over the years.
Well, actually, in fairness... we're actually being a little bit wrong here because, of course, Santa, we are assuming that he's a he, but we don't actually know Santa's gender identity, Mum. So did you know this nowadays, that actually that some it's like schools and shopping malls are either having Mother Christmas or just the Christmas person, because actually to assume that Santa is a father or to assume that Santa identifies as male is not allowed nowadays. It's transphobic.
Excuse me, Father Christmas, doesn't that give you a little bit of a clue as to the fact that he is a man?
Yeah, but we don't know that he's a man. As Santa, as Father Christmas.
Well, if he dropped his trousers, he'd show you he was a man, wouldn't he? Don't be so daft. How can you possibly say that Father Christmas could possibly not be Father Christmas, could be Mother Christmas, could be a Christmas, could be Fairy Christmas?
Father Christmas, could be a woman.
Don't get me on it, please, because I'm fed up with it, OK? You have variations, I know, of men and women, But how many are there now? 999?
No, there are 72 genders.
72 genders. So what happened to Adam and Eve? Was it Adam, perhaps it was Eve, or Eve, perhaps it was Adam?
Anyone ask Adam and Eve their gender identity? No one asked Adam whether he was a male.
Have you ever seen the artwork of Adam and Eve standing in the Garden of Eden?
Yes.
Yes. Eve has bosoms. Yes.
Yes.
And Adam is hiding his credentials under a fig leaf.
Well, in fairness, yes, Eve has bosoms, and that means that she would be able, if she had a child, to chest feed.
No, breastfeed, love.
No, you can't say breastfeeding nowadays, Mother, because that is transphobic, because you may well be a man who's had a baby.
I think
What?
you didn't listen very well in your biology classes in school, did you? Obviously not, because you have not identified that there are two sexes with a couple of variations. And I say a couple of variations because you have gay men, gay women. Yes, and you have some people who are born a man and think they would like to be a woman.
Yes.
And some women who are born and they would like to be a man. But I think that's where it should end. And we should all be kind to those people as we are to everybody else. There should be no difference. But when you go on to, you know, he's wearing pink frilly knickers, so therefore he must be a man. How do you know that he hasn't soiled his underpants and somebody's given him a pair of pink frilly knickers to wear? How can you go on about it?
Because you ask them what their gender identity is, and that's what you do. So therefore, that's why it's important that women can now, in leaflets on the NHS, women can now have prostate examinations and men can now go for cervical smears.
But a woman doesn't have a prostate. I was a nurse. A woman, I can assure you, does not have a prostate.
Well, that's transphobic.
No, it's biological. A woman has a uterus. A man has a prostate.
Well, what if you're a man with a uterus? What if you're a man that's given birth? What if you're a man who wants to chest feed?
Oh, that's because... Oh, you're talking...
Trans people.
You're talking about these people that think that they would like to become a woman and so therefore they have all their paraphernalia changed around.
Yes.
I think the world has taken it too far. The world is mad.
Well, you've forgotten about all the other genders as well. I mean, OK, so firstly, if you go to hospital now, that's why if you're having a pregnancy test at hospital, you're asked, are you a man or a woman? No, it's true.
You are cuckoo.
No, I'm not. I'm talking what's happening now.
No, that's ridiculous. The world has said, the world has gone mad. How can you say to a man, would you like to have a pregnancy? Oh, go on. Piddle in this little bottle and I will test to see whether you're pregnant. Come on.
Well, no, because
with all due respect.
You might be a trans man. Therefore, that means that you might then be someone who has female biological parts but lives as a man and has taken the hormones and has a beard and a deep voice and all of those things, but is still able to get pregnant. So therefore, and still able to live as a man, but might still need those health care that you would have for a woman, which is why it's very important that people who require cervical smears and the like, that we make sure that men are told about those as well.
But if you are a man, you do not have a cervix. You do not have a uterus. If you are a man, if you are a woman...
What about if you identify as a man?
I could identify as Coco the Clown. It doesn't mean to say I'm going to wear a big red nose and a red wig. Don't be silly.
Well, you're being now by bringing like.
No, I'm having a go at clowns with red noses and red wigs.
Oh, yes, and you're being again, transphobic.
I'm not being transphobic.
And clownist as well. What if you identify as a clown?
I'll buy you a balloon.
I'm just saying that is now... I mean, this is the new world, Mum, and so this is what you need to really sort of get your head around.
I don't need to. Do you know why?
Careful of the microphone. You put your hand on it. Why?
I don't need to because I'm not at the beginning of my life and I'm going to have to go through the purgatory of learning all these...
You might get cancelled.
77 different sexes.
72 different genders.
Genders, then. OK? I'm at the other end, love. I've been through it, OK? Before I was introduced to the world of... homosexuality, let's put it that way. That's
Right.
the correct termination, surely. Before I was introduced to that world, I'd only ever known one gay couple, and that was a couple called Helen and
Nessie,
Eileen.
what you are doing is that you are actually now conflating sexual orientation with gender identity, and so that's both homophobic and transphobic for being now.
Do you know, I wish you had given me the update on what we might have talked about. I'd have brought a dictionary with me so I could have looked up all these words.
I'm just trying to get you up to date. The world according to Jane, this is the world according to you. I'm getting you up to date with the way in which you are supposed to be now. You could be a woman who is a gay man.
I could be a woman who is a gay man.
A biological woman, but who identifies as a gay man. Or I could be a lesbian.
Oh, I'll buy you a wedding frock.
I could be.
Cristo, it is absolutely loopy. I think you're deliberately trying to wind me up.
I'm not. I'm talking to you about what's important nowadays.
What's
and
important?
trying to navigate you through life, because I don't want you to get cancelled, and I want you to be able. I mean, if you were a nurse, right, and you had someone that came in for a prostate examination, and that you assumed that was a male, you would be transphobic. So I'm just trying to help you.
The world, as I said, the world has gone mad. I can't see how you can possibly look at someone and look at them stark naked, okay, and do what is necessary for a prostate examination and then say, well, thank you, miss.
No,
How can you?
Now you're assuming their pronouns. They might not be a miss. They might be a they.
A they?
Because they might be non-binary. You're assuming you're assuming that sex is binary, Mother, as well. You're being very, very... Now you're being transphobic again, but this is against people who are non-binary, or actually gender fluid.
I tell you next year, when I'm sending out my Christmas cards, I shall address all the envelopes they.
Well, that would be good. That would be a good presumption, I think, to make nowadays.
OK, so they, the butchers, they, the taxi company I use that I send cards to, they, the school headmistress. Oh, she's going to be really happy to be called a they, isn't she?
I mean, are you omnigender? You could be...
Explain what it is and I'll tell you if I am.
Omnigender is having or experiencing all genders. You could be demi-fluid. I mean, I don't want to think about your demi-fluid. You could be ex-gender. You could be femme-fluid.
OK, they brought out quite good pads for femme fluid and demi fluids.
Please, Mother. It's OK. Thank you. I asked for that. Yeah, enjoy your cornflakes. Thank you. And what about agender? You could be aerogender. You could be alexigender. You could be alias gender. You could be ambigender. You could be angenital.
The only Alexi I know is Alexi Carrington.
You could be astral gender. That's gender identity that feels like you're related to space.
Oh, it's not because they have to stand like like a star.
There's also autogender.
I thought they were cars.
Biogender, which is a gender that's closely related to nature. You could be bigender, which is having two gender identities at the same time. Now, if you don't know this about people, then that's on you. That's your problem.
No, it's not my problem.
Yes, it is your problem.
No, as long as I don't go out of my way to offend people. If I do it accidentally, I apologise. It's something you've got to cope with. But if I go out of my way to offend people, then I'm not a nice person.
Because there's the story of the people that were on the train. Did I ever told you the story of the people that were on the train?
No.
Right, there was a couple on the train, right, and they were going up to, I don't know where they were going. I think it was an LNER train, right, and the manager came on, the train manager came on, right, and said... this is your train up to Leeds, and we stop at Doncaster and Wakefield, and hope all of you ladies and gentlemen have a lovely day, and this is where the buffet car is. Have a lovely journey, ladies and gentlemen.
How nice.
Well, yes, but then a couple of people on the train said, well, hang on, that announcement wasn't for me because I am non-binary, so therefore that announcement excluded me, and so rightly the train manager got in a lot of trouble for that.
No, he was being very polite and welcoming people onto the train.
No, wait, ladies and gentlemen is not polite anymore because it's not polite to use that term anymore because you're dividing people into two categories.
Why don't they just call us all things? You know, like, what was was it the
Things.
thing on the Addams Family?
Thing.
Yeah, why don't they just call us thing or it? You know, it Fufas, it Morgan, it Jones. Why do we have to be called Mr., Mrs. or anything? We'll just be it's.
No, you could just say morning everybody and then everyone's included.
Oh, if we say morning it's, everybody will be included, but it'll be a plural it's rather than an it. I think it's bonkers.
And I think the accusations this morning that I am winding my mother up with what I'm saying are very, very cruel and unnecessary and unkind, because I am not winding my mother up. I clearly believe everything I am saying here about the 72 different genders and the fact that you need to be respectful of the fact that someone might be non-binary or that a woman can have a penis. My mother is here.
And I don't have a penis.
Well, thank you for pointing that out to the Talk audience. Now, what about this story then? Okay, this is a good one. So, the civil service, there's been a lot of changes in the civil service recently,
yes.
But they are being encouraged at the moment to mark various different weeks at work. Different, like, weeks.
Yes,
okay?
yeah.
So...
I know what a week is. You don't have to repeat the word week.
All right. So, but I just want to know whether anywhere you've ever worked, did you ever celebrate Pansexual Visibility Day?
Sorry, darling?
Pansexual Visibility Day?
If you explain what it was, I'll tell you whether I celebrated it.
OK, what about Gender Fluid Visibility Week?
No, I've never celebrated that. Sorry, I've never celebrated that.
That's transphobic. Transgender Parent Day?
No, I've never celebrated it.
OK, what about OK, you like nature?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, this is in today's Mail. The Forestry Commission managed publicly owned woodland. They published a diversity and inclusion calendar for 2024 because, you know, the countryside is racist.
I beg your pardon?
The countryside is racist now. I don't know if you knew that.
How is the countryside racist?
Because it's very white. A lot of white people go to the countryside, and that is now very racist.
Well, is there a ban on any other colour or nationality going to the countryside?
No, but because a lot of other nationalities of different ethnicities don't tend to go to the countryside, unfortunately, that now means the countryside is racist. So that's why a lot of these Forestry Commission and the National Trust and the like, they're trying to get rid of the racism of the countryside because the countryside is racist.
That is totally bonkers. That the countryside is racist. How can you call a tree racist? How can you, step on a leaf and say, sorry,
Well, what colour...
Sexually diverse person, leaf, I'm sorry if I trod on you. How can you possibly do that? I've never known anything so daft in my life. You cannot say the countryside is racist.
Well, you don't know what colour that leaf identifies as.
It's not a human being.
What if they're transracial?
It is a leaf. You know, a leaf like Adam wore, all those years ago.
Well, maybe he doesn't want to go as Adam. OK, what about this one then? What is Latinx Heritage Month?
Latinx?
Yeah.
What is a Latinx?
It's a gender-neutral term for people with South American background, and there's an awareness month for them.
They're South American?
South American with a different gender identity.
They are South American. Whether they think that they are Popeye or olive oil, they are South American.
OK, what about International Mother Language Day?
I could probably understand that more, yes.
Pansexual Visibility Day, that's different to the Pansexual Awareness Month.
So what's the difference between the Awareness Month and the Visibility?
Well, one's about awareness and the other's about visibility.
So one is about showing it all off and the other is thinking about it.
By the way, if you're pansexual, that means you're attracted to all genders.
Well, there are only two genders with little variations.
Yeah, but what if you... yes, but what if you're attracted to those of all genders? What if you are attracted to someone who is non-binary or trans or male or female or cisgendered?
What, all in the same week?
Yes.
Oh,
that's pansexuality.
A different one for each day?
Yes. That's pansexual.
Are you winding me up?
No, this is written here.
I think it's ludicrous.
It is not.
It is absolutely ludicrous.
You know, you're getting a lot of love on Twitter. I have to say, I love your mother. Stop winding your mum up. But I love your mother. She's a legend. It's great to see a healthy mother-son relationship. But Cristo, by the way, Howard says, you're talking tosh if you think the train managers deserve to get into trouble by saying ladies and gentlemen. Well, the train driver...
I agree.
The train driver did not account for the fact by saying, ladies and gentlemen, that there were some passengers who may well have been non-binary, ma'am.
Really?
Yes.
Load of tosh. A load of tosh. The gentleman was being... I'm assuming he was a gentleman and he wasn't a woman dressed in gentleman's clothes and thinking that they had a willy.
Now you're thinking along the long lines and not presuming his gender identity. See, this is good. This is progress. Alex is now here. Alex Phillips, who agrees wholeheartedly that we need to be training my mum to be more up to date with the new world.
Absolutely not.
Oh, God's goodness, for that I could hug you. I could hug you. I could. Oh, I love it.
Oh, that's a good hug, isn't it?
It is a good, good hug.
Please don't start going into the alphabet people and the rainbow flags.
Yes.
Please don't assume because I hugged this lady.
Yeah, definitely. Don't give me that word.
Wrong.
Definitely. I wouldn't try and suggest that she's anything other than a lady because you know you'll probably get a harder punch than someone who
Think of your words.
Is masculine in their outlook. A man.
A man.
Oh, like you just keep going, digging yourself a little hole there, aren't you?
People actually think I'm being serious, by the way. People are messaging going,
I'm never tuning in to talk again.
I'm never tuning in to talk again. I can't believe you're saying this. I don't have to listen to you, but the last 10 minutes have reminded me why all of this sort of thing.
Don't play with them because they don't necessarily always know.
They don't know when
Sarcasm doesn't always work.
They don't know when I'm being tongue-in-cheek and trying to... I have been trying to wind you up, Mum.
Is it Bring Mum to Work Day today?
No, just that the last year she came on.
Yeah.
And so by popular demand, because once a year we thought, oh, we'll bring her back. But because it was actually stemmed from a conversation we were having a couple of nights ago where we were actually talking about non-binary. I hadn't actually told you a couple of nights ago that the countryside was racist.
No,
because
you
we've not
haven't
gone
told
through
me
your
that,
terrible problem with racism that you have at the moment by assuming that the countryside is not racist. Very bad. It was from that kind of conversation that this all came about. And I was like, I think it would be hilarious.
Well, your mind's listening right now, so you'll be giving her ideas.
Yeah. You see, it's good. We need to educate our older relatives at Christmas. Otherwise, you might get cancelled at Christmas.
Well, you're assuming that I'm old.
Sorry?
You're assuming that I'm old.
Right.
You've referred to me as an older relative.
Yes.
You're assuming that I'm old.
So what are you saying? Do you identify as someone younger?
I identify as young.
Oh, I don't know how... Well, I suppose I have to respect that then, don't I?
Thank you.
Always respect your mother.
I have to respect that you are identifying as a... How old are you identifying as?
I'm identifying as my best age and I was 30.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I might do that. I'm also going to identify as my best age of 30.
There you see, you're both getting it. Oh my word, I've changed them both, and they now are respectful. And may I ask your pronouns?
It. No, that.
What?
What? Just call me what?
Before we come to what's on your show, we have a voice note. We brought you in early because we thought you might enjoy this exchange. That's
all right.
why.
Oh, I like
we just got a quick voice note from Michael.
Morning, Cristo. Morning, Jane. Oh, my God, I'm laughing my head off. Jane, I absolutely love you. You should have your own show. You are so funny. Take care, the two of you. Great show. Bye.
And a lot of people suggesting, quite rightly, that I need a slap for what I've just put my mother through for the last half hour, explaining the terrible racism of the countryside and the 72 genders that I've tried to explain to you, which you're not having.
That's almost one for every year of my life, you know that.
I know.
No, well, actually, it's over 2 because I identify as 30.
What have you got coming up on your show, Alex?
Well, no genders. We're going to be like politics, geopolitics, the whole spat between Kemi and Nigel. Have you seen it? Gloves
I know.
are off.
And it's a weird hill, I think, for Kemi to die on, because I think all she's done, whether she believes they're fake or not, is actually just point to the really high reform members. It's sort of, I think, either way, it's a bit of a win for reform.
I was there sort of going, she said, well, I've been looking at the back end. We can see what you're doing. And I'm like, what, are you hacking into them now?
Yeah.
You want to be fessing up to that, do you?
And also, if it is a bit of manipulation, which is what she's suggesting, people don't generally like being told that. I don't think if the objective was, well, they're going to come back to the Conservatives, I'm not sure no one's going to look at that.
No one's going to be like, OK, so they put a graphic up on social media and now I'm going to leave the party. What Kemi needs to do is actually tell people what Kemi's about.
Yeah, I agree.
She keeps sort of saying, oh, you know, in time, I'll let you know. In time. I'm like, you're the leader of the opposition. What do you believe in? Lead.
Anything else?
Well, yeah, a lot of other things. Let me just have a little look at my notes and I'll tell you. Caught me off guard here. IEA, we've got Christopher Snowden on. They want to get rid of everything, you know, free up Britain. Talk about the NHS, prisoner overcrowding, nanny states, quangos, US politics, Trump. I'm off to the inauguration in January.
Wow.
How cool is, I know, how cool is that?
Plain common sense thinking, says Tom. This guy is on a different planet with his gender ideology nonsense. I'm winding you up, for goodness sake.
They believe it now.
They do believe it now. Reg says, I do hope Christo's winding his mum up. Take notice of your mum, says Claire, as well. And someone else, Brian, has listened to that list and suggested that we call it the civil cervix.
That's quite good.
I love that. I like that.
Good.
I do.
And so thank you very much indeed for that, and thank you so much for all of the kind messages about my mum, and absolutely love it. Love your mum, and lots and lots of you are enjoying that exchange.